where we were able to have this dinner since I've been here, so it's really exciting that we get to do that tonight. So first, a little bit about our team. First, I wanted to point out Professor Spilka. He is actually our faculty advisor for our chapter, so big thanks to him. Without him, none of this would be possible. And then Professor Spilka also mentioned Ellie Schmelzer a little bit before, and she is new to the team. She's a wastewater engineer, and we are happy to have her as well. So a little bit about the previous water conditions in the Kwango village. So previous to Engineers Without Borders coming to Kwango, they had pretty poor water quality for drinking. They had 2 existing wells, they called them boreholes, and unfortunately the pipes were corroded, and the iron pipes caused some major discoloration in the water. You can see in this picture how a few minutes after it was pumped, it slowly became more and more orange. And then once it was boiled, it actually turned this silver black color. So technically it was safe to drink, but it tasted pretty bad and obviously looked pretty bad. So community members were not a big fan of drinking this water. So they most of the time ended up walking to the nearby springs about a half a mile away, so pretty far, and would get their water from there, which actually were much worse for them to be drinking. It was contaminated with E. coli and also exposed them to malaria. There's lots of mosquitoes around springs like this, so it was one of our goals to keep them away from these springs and able to use their boreholes. So the first 2 trips that this chapter took to Kwango were just assessment trips, but in 2018 they implemented borehole rehabilitation. So that means they took the 2 existing boreholes that were already there, fixed them up, took out those iron pipes and put in PVC and stainless steel, I believe. And in this picture you can kind of barely see the clean water being pumped out of those wells. And then in 2019, the chapter drilled a new borehole at the Holy Trinity Secondary School. And then in 2020, most recently, just right before the whole pandemic, the team installed a solar-powered submersible pump that fed into 2 elevated storage tanks. So with these storage tanks, they were able to install some spigots in the kitchen and near the restroom so that they could wash their hands. And then fast forward to 2022 and 2023, we are actually working on sanitation. So we're done with all of our water projects, and we are looking to assess their sanitation situation. So another thing I wanted to touch on was the health and safety trainings that we consistently do whenever we've traveled. So this is a great place for our students who are not engineers to get involved. Historically, we've had a lot of nurses and health science students come along to do these health and safety trainings. So this includes proper hand washing and jerry can cleaning. These yellow canisters that you see are the jerry cans, so this is how they transport their water from the wells to their home or to the school or wherever they're using their water. Okay, so now to talk about sanitation. So this is what we've been working on, I guess, since 2020. We haven't been able to travel since then, so we've been doing a lot of research. We did a grant. But basically, this village and at Holy Trinity School, we really need to assess the sanitation situation because, first and foremost, it's a major threat to the student and faculty health. Second, there is the risk of the groundwater becoming contaminated, which is especially dangerous considering that they get their drinking water from wells. Additionally, the current bathrooms will not sustain a growing school population. Father Julius has loosely projected that there will be maybe 600 students once dormitories are built. So having pit latrines definitely cannot sustain that many students. Another thing to take into consideration is that whenever you have a pit latrine, it gets filled up, then you have to build a new one. You can't build anything over those former pit latrines. So the longer that you have pit latrines, the more land is going to be used up, which then can't be used for any sort of construction. So that puts major restriction on the expansion of the school. And then lastly, the current pit latrines at the Holy Trinity School are not meeting the Ugandan requirements for the number of latrines per student. So this year we've been looking into a few alternatives. We're not exactly sure which one we're going to be able to install yet. Our next trip is an assessment trip in order to talk to the community and also just see what's feasible. So one thing that we've been looking into and what we're most likely going to be installing is a septic system. So on our next trip, we need to make sure that there's cleaning accessibility. A septic tank has to be cleaned out about once a year. So in order to install a septic tank, that means we need to have the access to people who are going to be able to come and clean that once a year, and also the funds to do so. Additionally, a septic tank requires a pump, which needs power. Luckily, there is power in Kawango now, so that shouldn't be as much of an issue. Additionally, the soil in this area has a lot of clay-like characteristics, which means that water will not soak into it very well. So we need to come up with an alternative to kind of figure out how the processed water is going to leave the system. And then obviously there's things like location and having enough water for flushing and like the different elevation. And then the other thing that we're looking into is a stabilization pond. This basically, it's kind of like what it sounds, is a big pond. The wastewater would go into there and just hang out in there. So one big issue with this is security. If we have a big pond that's full of wastewater, obviously we would need to put like a gate around it or something like that so that local community members, animals, you name it, aren't getting into the wastewater. So that's one big thing to take into consideration. Additionally, we would have to install a mixer, which also requires power. And also one reason why we're really not leaning towards this solution is because it would be a major breeding ground for mosquitoes. And we don't want to expose all of those faculty members and students to malaria even more than they already are. I have actually gotten in contact with a few construction companies who say that they can put in septic tanks, so that's awesome. But yeah, we'll see what the community has to say when we get there. So on this trip, kind of what it'll look like when we get there is first we'll have a community meeting and talk to them about why we need to address their sanitation at the school. It's really important that we make sure that they feel like they're on board, they know what's going on, and that this money is being well spent. The community contributes 5% to any of our Engineers Without Borders projects. And then second, one of our biggest things that we need to look into is making sure that we will have enough water for flushing. So one thing I know that we've talked about since Father Julius has been here is possibly installing some sort of rain and catchment system to help us have a bit more water for flushing. So that's one big thing that we'll be taking into consideration while we're there. And then once we've kind of done some assessment and know what is possible, we'll talk to the community again and we'll have a vote. So similar to what we did, I believe, in 2017, you can see in this picture there is like a white poster board with a bunch of stickers on it. I believe how they did that was green was like, this is my first choice, and orange was, this is my second choice. So we'll do something like that where we put up a few different sanitation options and allow the community to vote. And then lastly, we would collect the necessary engineering data so that we can start our sanitation planning for our next trip, which we would then hopefully implement in 2024. So we're really excited to be able to travel this year, presumably, and we really appreciate all of your guys' continued support of Engineers Without Borders. Thank you.
So now, finally, at long last, I'd like to move on really to our guest of honor, the most important person of the evening, the reason that we're all here, Father Julius Foundation, who is one of the founding fathers of this Holy Trinity School where EWB has been working. Father Julius will wrap up this evening's presentation for us by sharing with us his vision of the way forward to help meet the current challenges and needs of the school and the surrounding Coango village. And as Father likes to say, the needs are great.
I know it has been a while since we last met. I'm so excited to see you all. I want to recognize Mr. and Mrs. Osborne, Tom Osborne. They have been always our consultants. At the beginning of this story, we had to drive to Billings with Matt Hera to meet those guys in Billings to find how we can attract the community in Helena as we begin this story. So Mr. Osborne, thank you. I recognize all of you, and I bring you greetings from Uganda. As you all know, COVID-19 stranded our life, stranded all our activities. And Uganda, unlike other countries, we had the longest lockdown that took us 2 years, or 2 good years. So we managed to contain the pandemic, but on the other hand, it was too brutal. It was brutal. It was brutal on our people because everything was, people lacked essentials. They could not access essentials because we were locked down. Schools were locked down, churches were locked down, everything was locked down. So as we contained the disease, but at the same time, we were so affected, including our schools. Our children, in other words, could not receive virtual or remote learning assistance during the prolonged lockdown. We had these gadgets, you guys, which you have, so that we can do the remote learning or the digital learning. We tried it as we improvised, but we could not maintain the internet. And few parents, actually most of them, had no means of internet so that their children can access this kind of education. But we did not lose it all. At Coango, all the villagers, those who have been there, and our school, we implemented one of the long-awaited projects of electricity. So the 2 years of COVID, at least we did that. That was very exciting. The people there are very, very exciting. And they sent me to acknowledge the good, wonderful contributions you have done so that project is put in place. The excitement, I have quoted here some I have cited some comments of our leaders. Mr. Henry Mwanga is one of our village leader, and he says our people are now able to engage in commercial activities to boost their income, small incomes, due to opportunities such as milling machines, popcorns, and welding machines, amongst others. Our children, when they come back home, they are able to revise and read their books. And of course at night. And the schools around of that village will also be able to study evening lessons comfortably. So that is one of our leaders. Those of you who have been to Kawango, they know him. And the area member of parliament, Maokota, MP, the member of parliament who represents us, he says, I would like to caution you residents against illegal connections. You know, some people do illegal connections. So he gives them for a warning not to do that. And to protect the valuable investment that you guys have donated to us. And he calls those villages very lucky because few villages have electricity. And I urge you to use this investment profitably to transform your living conditions. People there are very, very excited. Very, very excited. And I cannot express the excitement, but those of you who will go will bring back the excitement of those people in Kawango. And we know the school, the Holy Trinity, this is going to be a stepping stone for the growth of this school. As you all know, we have a project we're going to do with the Rotary Club here, and Anduling represents. Anduling, can you come forward? So we have a project that we're going to do with the Rotary Club. They wouldn't do it because we lacked electricity. And this project, the computer project. So now electricity is put in. The opportunity of the computers coming to Kawango is now open. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Yes, our Rotary Club, in conjunction with the Rotary Club in Kampala, are putting in 50 computers, 4 laptops, a copy machine, a printer, and a projector in the school. And not only will the school be able to use these computers, but so will the people in the village and in several villages around, and a couple other schools around the area as well. So it's going to really help an awful lot of people, much more than just the school students, and we're very happy about that. The global grant is, it's either newly submitted or will be submitted very shortly to the Rotary Foundation, and they're matching the funds that we are gathering for this project. And the Helena games out there are games that we put together, mostly me. It took a long time. I'm sorry, does that sound about right?
Sounds about right.
That's right. Anyway, so that's the fundraiser for paying for the computers, and so don't have an awful lot of games left, but I would be so delighted if a few of you would pick up a game and use it as a gift or use it for your family or something. But that's for the computer project. Thank you. Thank you.
So you see good things coming to Uganda from Helena here, and Helena is being fed there. I'd like to recognize Mr. Paul Trumpet. Trumpet has been one of our biggest supporters, and he has traveled to Uganda, and he's going back very soon. Paul is offering to support our project of putting up a kitchen, and a cafeteria, actually, we can say cafeteria for our school. Paul, please let us put our hands together to thank you. I would like to recognize the new members of the engineers group, the engineering group. These are very new young ladies and men. They are offering themselves to go all the way to Uganda. And people there have been asking me, when are they coming? I said, let me go and find out. So I have already found out that they are coming early next year. Please, we are so excited to see you there. As she has already mentioned, water goes with the sanitation. It's water and sanitation. So water has been provided, so sanitation is next. So we are excited about that project because the school is growing. Actually, we cut on the number because we don't have the facilities. If we had the facilities, our numbers would be bigger. They would be like 700 children. So as we keep growing, as we put in place those facilities, then the number will increase, will keep increasing. As of now, one of our pressing needs, water. We have gotten water. Now electricity. Computers are coming. We have done a science laboratory, which needs furnishing, which we're gonna do soon. So we need to build student dormitories where they can sleep, because they come from very, very far. So we would like to keep them at school. So they come to school when they are very, very tired because of the journey. If you walk 7 miles or 8 to come to school, by the time you reach school, you are already tired. So we'd like to keep these children at the school. So next year, we are going to fundraise for the girls' dormitory and boys' dormitory. But these will keep increasing, putting up in place, because the needs, as we say, there are many. But we do one at a time. So I'd like to recognize the wonderful contributions you have done, and our people there, Kawango, sent me to thank you, to bring their joy, to bring their gratefulness to you, because if it were not you, we would be nowhere. But they are now seeing good things coming there because of your love, your generosity, your kindness. Thank you so much. And they keep you at their hearts, the day they pray for you, so that your life and whatever you do, all your endeavors, you may succeed day by day. Monsignor is not here because of the conflict, but he has always been a wonderful supporter, and it all started with him. If it were not him, I don't think we would be here. So please, those of you who get the opportunity to meet him, please thank him for Uganda. I got the opportunity to meet the bishop, Bishop Austin Better, yes. It was a quick meeting, but very, 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 very important. He knows about TJF, and he's in support of it. He said I would be there for the dinner, but because I have a conflict, I can't be there. But maybe one time I'll try to be there. So that's very, very exciting that you have the blessing of the bishop. So I would like to end by saying thank you once again for coming. Thank you once again for supporting Uganda. Thank you again for keeping the Ugandan flag high up in the skies. You have always been our ambassadors, and we take back that love, that generosity, that joy you always show me. They say I'm a celeb here. I'm a celebrity. It's because of you. So thank you so much. I take back that love and the generosity, and see you, those of you who are going to come at the beginning of the year. And Creed is one of them. Creed, please stand up. I think I should end here. So thank you, Dr. Tony, not only for keeping this engineering department alive, but also traveling to Uganda always. And thank you to Dr. President, Dr. Ije Sek.